David Proglio, pole position in the HQ Championship for the final round of it. How did it feel out there?
Yeah, it was good. Car feels good. We've been playing around a bit with the engine a bit, so got a bit more power, and I strung a good lap together, getting a bit of a tow from Brett, so turned out all right for me. But yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, no, the car's going really good. Everything's perfect on it. I spent a lot of time and a bit of development over the last couple of months after I did a DNF and sort of was out of the championship, so did a lot of testing and tuning since then and getting ready for next year, so it's getting to be where I want it, yeah. So, what we're running and trialling now is all development for next year. I mean, we're always developing something, but yeah, no, it seems to be going in the right direction, so.
The final round for the Osborn's Transport HQ Holden Championship here at Sydney Motorsport Park. We've got Dave Proglio on pole position, though he was a fair way out of his box, Gary.
He looked like he was, didn't he? But he's trying to lead this one down. We've got Brett Osborn on the outside of him, trying to go with him. Then it's Mark Baxter in behind, John Baxter in behind him, I should say, followed by Sean Boland, the next one through. So this is championship stakes this weekend for this category. And there you can see Proglio holds onto the lead, keeps the two Osborn Transport HQs right behind him, the two teammates.
Yep, and down the back, I believe it was that guy, Wayne Healy, locking up the both fronts into turn 2. So he did not make contact with anybody else, but driving a bit hard to try to make up position. He's a little bit further down the field than he probably wants to be in that car, and he'll work his way up, no doubt. He's got past the warm-up lap, which I know is a big thing for the HQs with the HQ Extra boys. They do a great job of promoting HQ racing, as we see Mole trying to go round the outside of Parker. In behind them is the one to watch out for, Luke Harrison. Qualified a lot lower down the field than we would expect. Going for the championship, is the championship leader, and he'll need to get his way past these guys to get back into that fight.
Well, it's John Baxter, Luke Harrison and Chris Mole, the three in contention. And at this stage, Harrison's at the back of them.
He is. He needs to work his way through a good field of cars here this weekend. We've got 19, which is great to see for the HQ racing. Of course, we have seen bigger fields throughout the season, but of course, with so many HQ races of high status at the back end of this year, the guys are travelling up and down the East Coast, even the New South Wales guys. Some of them, like the Moles, have been up to Queensland. They come back down, they go to Sydney, they're off to South Australia or Victoria for different events as we go on board with Healy. He's trying to chase down, I think that's Peter Lynch just in front of him, and we'll see if he can get past him down through turn 1. You can see the guys moving to the inside.
It's almost like a Formula V race when you see him doing this sort of stuff. And Wayne Healy's got his son Brandon having his first drive this weekend. He's in number 99, the traditional HQ Extra Holden.
As we see Baxter to the inside of Proglio, he's going to try to take this position away. The second of the Osborn's Transport cars to the inside at turn 2. He's going to be able to get there as well. So Proglio gets relegated by 1. Of course, just missed out of the championship in 2021 and has not been able to have the best campaign this year. Of course, just with how these cars are, 1 DNF, and that's not looking good for Harrison. He's pulled off.
Wow, that's a big play this early into the final round. That he's got some sort of drama there and is parked off the track.
The Sydney Mini Crate car out of the action, so that's going to cause massive dramas for his championship. It may well actually just put him out of the running because he will not be able to regain enough points with 2 races left, as Allen and Deering over the top. You can see Allen there on the outside. We're in car with him now. He's got the pink flamingo for luck strapped to the roll cage, and he's going to look to the inside of Deering down into the hairpin. So Deering, our 2021 defending champion, and he's going to stay there. A little bit of it, no touch actually between the pair of them. Great racing.
It is, and right behind him is Chris Mole, who will benefit, although the major beneficiary will be John Baxter in second position, because I wonder if team tactics will come into this at some stage, and Brett Osborn allows Baxter to get past and to consolidate that championship.
On board again with Allen, he moves to the inside of Deering, and he's going to make the move down into turn 1. Deering gives him plenty of room, and through goes Dave Allen. So a great race so far for Dave Allen in the DJA mechanical MIA performance car. And no, Deering's going to look to the backside. How good's that? Just passing everywhere, all the way through the field in the HQs. Every time there's an opportunity, they'll manage to make the move. But good, clean racing by the lot of them, as we see
Jared Harper Yeah, Jared Harbour, he's coming up through the field. One that's been on the improve the last couple of rounds is almost knocking on the door of a top 5, maybe even a podium position at some stage.
He'll be one to watch out for into the next season as Parker goes to the inside of him. Mole is pushing incredibly hard through the back section of the circuit, but he's had something happen at the hairpin because he's dropped 2 positions to the pair of them round the back section. So obviously at the hairpin he ran a little bit wide and just lost out there.
Yeah, and dropping down like he has there, it's put Baxter in a stronger position, hasn't it? And maybe he doesn't have to actually win this race. If he just maintains second, he'll be in a strong position with 2 races to go.
Well, Johnston now is right up behind Mole as well, which makes me think there must be some sort of issue with Mole's car. He does not have the straight line pace and he's fallen into this group behind that's got Dwayne Cambridge at the back of it, Wayne Healy in the black car, Peter Lynch in the green. As they come through turn 3, we're on board with Healy and he's looking at the rear of Jason Johnston. The Equity Views construction car of Harbour down the road. It looks like he's actually driving away from this group as well because Mole's not staying with him. So plenty of action throughout that group.
See, right at the back of this group is Dwayne Cambridge making a comeback. Been out of the sport for a little while and pretty hard to distinguish that car because it's a camouflage. Yeah. So we may lose it at some stage.
Camouflage livery, of course, supporting Sydney Veterans Lodge, which Dwayne Cambridge does a lot of work to support. They have guys here doing a parade this weekend as well to show their support of all that's happening for the veterans. It's a great campaign by Dwayne Cambridge, and of course he's run multiple different liveries on that car to be able to bring awareness to what's happening around that. So good work from them and great to see them involved in the HQ racing in New South Wales as we're on board again with Healy down the straight.
And looking like just ahead there, Johnson making a move on Mole down the straight. So Mole has certainly lost pace. Here's our battle between our 2 front-running teammates. Oh. And will Baxter get through? It looks like he might.
He wants it, doesn't he?
Well, he probably needs to if he wants to have a crack at this championship, but Osborn's not going to let him through. No team orders, obviously, at this stage anyway.
On board with Baxter, right behind Osborn. He's trying to do everything he can. We go on board now with Dave Allen on the run down the straight. He's giving the motion to be able to get a push past. So I dare say there's somebody up behind him, and just look at the straight line speed to the inside of Deering. He gave the little wave to Parker, and Darren Parker said, yeah, no problem, I'll oblige with that, and pushed Allen into the position.
Yeah, that's what you call bump drafting.
That's it. Got the old chrome horn out here in the HQ Holdens as Harbour now wants to buy into it as well. So we've got 4 cars fighting for position here on the track. They're all fighting for what is 5th place in the race, trying to chase down. You can just see the black HQ going over the crest. That's Sean Boland. He's just got enough gap on all of them that he'll be looking in the rear view mirror every now and then and saying, yes boys, battle on, slows you down. I can get away here. So let's see what happens. Harbour, if he could have got the line there, I think he might have been able to get the drive over the hill and try to get to the inside of Parker, who's showing the nose to Deering. Deering seems to be a little bit slower in the back section of this race as well, so maybe he does not quite have the pace that we've seen through the rest of the race. Back at the front, Baxter following Osborn onto the main straight. I think that's the way it's going to end this race. It is Baxter with the hand out the window as a thank you very much. A great opening race for the Osborn's Transport guys in the Osborn's Transport HQ Holden Racing Championship. Brett Osborn leads home John Baxter, David Proglio, Sean Boland, David Allen rounding out your top 5.
The second of 3 races just about to get underway, and it's the 2 Osborn Transports HQ Holden teammates with Brett Osborn and John Baxter. First and second going down the first corner. We've had some dramas with some cars in the first race. Luke Harrison, fuel pump failure in that, and that certainly knocked his points around, although he's going to make a strong comeback in this one. And Chris Mull had electrical issues that dropped him well down the field.
You can see there Harrison had 2 wheels in the grass to work his way past a few of those cars down the main straight, so he is not wasting any time in trying to go back towards the front of this field as he comes around and out of turn 3. Now on board with Healy, he's on the inside of Johnston, Dave Allen just in front of them, and he'll be looking to make that move down into turn 5, which he does, and comfortably gets past us. Oh, Harbour looking for the inside move there on, I think that was Lynch. Took a bit of grass at turn 4, which is interesting dirt tracking to be doing, but he's made it work. So
that's all right. That's acceptable in HQs,
exactly.
Particularly on the opening lap. You've got to use whatever bit of track and near track that you can.
There we go, down the inside of Amanda Saunders and gets the position away, and it just looked like Gordon McClay lost out to Harrison as well through turn 6. So these guys charging their way back through the field. Harbour, of course, just did not get away at the start, so he's got a lot of work to do just of his own accord. And there's Harrison, passes Cambridge down the main straight, flicks the headlights on to tell Johnston and Healy he is coming through turn 1, and sure enough he is coming. Look at that, to the inside at 2.
Oh, 4 wide now. Well, 3.5 wide. 1 half off the track, that being Cambridge. So Harrison gets past them all, so he's well on his way to try and retrieve what he can out of this after that DNF out of race 1.
That was a fantastic move from Harrison. Pulled it back to the inside, took 2 for 1. Cambridge looked to the outside but saw that the door was rapidly closing after he put 2 wheels on the grass, and it's deceptive from the camera angles, but the wall actually narrows up to the track there as well, so there's actually not a lot of room from the grass to the wall on the exit of turn 2, entry of turn 2, sorry, and you don't really want to find yourself down there, as now he swings back to the inside of Johnston. Harbour's got past them as well through turns 3 and 4.
Now Cambridge makes a move on Johnson down to turn 6, and the amount of side-by-side racing we've seen so far in this event would take in a season in some other categories.
Absolutely brilliant from the Osborn's Transport HQ Holden Championship here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Of course, this is the championship finale round, so it's all about making up the points, and the points that are needed for Chris Moll. He's getting himself back into contention. He's back up into 4th place in the race after finishing 10th in race 1 with those dramas, so he's made the first couple of laps work for him.
He certainly has, and he's knocking on the door of position 3, trying to take that off Dave Proglio as well, as the 2 Osborn Transport cars continue out in front.
Just going on board there with Glenn Deering, and it looked like in the middle of turn 1 he got a little bit of understeer and was starting to just run it very, very wide. Fed a bit more lock in, a bit more lock, just kept it in because, you know, HQs, he can do that. He'll be able to just surf it out the other side if he has to, but he's sitting in 5th place now, and
I think you prefer not to, wouldn't you?
No, you would, but you know, you can if you have to. These guys will race hard all the way to the end, but be very fair with each other as well, trying to give racing room and make sure there's limited contact. Of course, sometimes contact's unavoidable when you're multiple cars on a racetrack together, but there's never really intentional anything happening with these guys, and some great racing that we've seen all throughout the season as Moll now works on the back of Proglio. Deering has got himself back up there as well. We go on board with Deering, and look at him work his way at the wheel there around Corporate Hill. He might look to the inside.
Replay here of Harbour having a big moment out of turn 5.
That's a massive tank slapper as we're on board with Healy.
I don't think Wayne really knew what he was going to do, but he thought, I'll just help him along a little bit, and he certainly has.
Given him a few bumps into turn 6 just to give him the hurry up. Didn't want to take the position.
And it's a top 5 battling it out here, and the biggest loser, I guess, out of the opening laps has been Sean Boland, who was 4th in the first race and would have started out of P4, but he's back in 6th spot, and he's just off the back of this group, trying desperately. There he is in the background there, just managed to escape the attention of Parker behind him. And we'll try and endeavour to get to these guys before the race finishes. Well,
it's one of those things, isn't it? You lose a little bit of momentum in these cars.
Change of lead too. Baxter in front of Osborn. So is this a tactical move?
Who knows? We'll find out as the race continues. But with these cars, it's all about momentum. And if you just have the slightest little slide or run wide in one corner, you can lose 4 or 5 car lengths. And that's probably what's happened to Boland in the opening laps in the phonetic way the racing occurs. As yes, Baxter leads the way from Osborn. Proglio looking to buy in. Moll will be wanting to get himself up into the top 3, potentially win the race as well to pick up those championship points. Those all-important championship points. At the moment, it's almost, going his way really, because Harrison is down in the back half of the top 10, and he is not making the steam train, freight train run to the front that we thought he'd be able to do. with those gaps that are happening, as we see Healy and Cambridge and Johnston all battling for position as well. We saw this in race 1. They've continued it on in race 2. This is 10th, 11th and 12th in the race.
This isn't a championship battle. This is just a battle for 10th.
Battle for battling's sake. But Cambridge, of course, we've seen speed from him at Sydney Motorsport Park over multiple seasons. He's been able to drive his way through the field and all sorts of things. Wayne Healy we've seen speed from as well. There's been a couple of times at events like Muscle Car Masters where he's been right up there once they've had that car sorted. And Jason Johnston just coming on stronger and stronger as he gets more and more miles under his belt in these HQs. And you can see he's doing a great job of keeping these 2 seasoned campaigners behind.
Certainly is, and it's Cambridge at the back of this 3-0 as they head up over Corporate Hill. Meanwhile, back at the lead, it's still Baxter in front from Osborn with Proglio, Mole and Deering the next 3, and not much between any of them, and that's the way they're going to go to the checkered flag. So it is John Baxter who takes the win over Brett Osborn. Proglio 3rd, Mole 4th, Deering in 5th, Sean Boland, Dave Allen the next 2 across the line.
A great second race there for the Osborn's Transport HQ Holden Championship here at Sydney Motorsport Park. The final race for the Osborn's Transport HQ Holden Championship here at Sydney Motorsport Park. The championship is on the line. Harrison needs to come through. Baxter needs to score as many points as he can, and so does Chris Moll to be able to bring this one home. It's going to be very tight at the end, and it's all going to depend, of course, on where your ultimate finishing place is for those championship points.
Indeed, and I think at the moment it works out that if Baxter can win the race and Moll's a couple of spots back, then Baxter would win, but I'm not sure how this is all going to end up as they go through turn 1. Certainly Proglio's got into the act already, as has Mole.
So we go on board with Proglio here for a replay through turn 1. He got to the inside of Osborn into turn 1, which, you know, it doesn't happen that often with Brett Osborn, of course, multiple-time champion of New South Wales HQ Holdens, and then goes to the outside of Baxter, outbrakes himself a little bit, and I don't think he's able to run there. So Proglio with a great opening couple of corners, and now he sits in second place. He'll be looking for the run down the main straight.
So it's Baxter in front from Proglio second, Osborn, then Mole in 4th spot, Deering the next one after that, and here we can see a move by Chris Mole to get past Brett Osborn. So Mole up to 3rd spot. This is exactly where he wants to be. If he can get to the front, it'll be even better.
Have a look at them coming through turn 1. Allen sideways across the ripple strip. Harbour looking to get through. Boland's in there as well. Harbour locks up. They give each other a bit of racing room, and Boland looks to the inside of Allen. A little touch on the exit of turn 2, but still right there. So we've got our top 8 cars all within close proximity to each other in this race.
And also qualifying in this group is Harrison. So he's not out of it, but I don't think his points is going to work unless the other 2 have some moment towards the end of the race or during it.
Well, he needs them to DNF effectively now, doesn't he, to be able to pick up enough points as we go on board with Mole on the back of Proglio, still trying to chase down Baxter. Osborn sitting right in behind them in the 86 car as well. So some great racing here. Deering will be looking to fight his way in and probably try to change up the championship results here as we're on board with Proglio. He stretches behind the wheels, lifts himself in the seat, gets up in the saddle. He's going to look to the inside into turn 1, and he may well make it work. He gets a little bit of opposite lock in the mid-corner. Baxter gives him just enough room.
And he could look at that. Potentially drag Chris Mole through, whip him if he can get a run on him down to turn 2. And it looks like he will. Oh, and it has. And it's worked out exactly that way. Chris Mole now up to 2nd.
That's exactly what he needs, isn't he? He's in front of Baxter now, so Baxter with it all to do to fight back as we go on board with Deering. Osborn sitting behind Baxter, so the teammates will try to work their way back to the front of this race. They started 1 and 2 on the grid, and now Proglio and Mole have got themselves to the front. The Command Digital signage car sitting in second place. It would be his first championship after years of trying in the HQ Holdens. Means a lot to the Mole brothers to be right up at the front. They've done a lot of support of HQ Racing, of course supported the online series through COVID as well, that the guys all participated in to keep their eye in. And now they're back in the real world and showing it how it's done as Deering looks to the inside. There's not quite enough room there to be able to get past Osborn, but he'll sit back in behind him for the drag down the back straight.
It's a tight battle, isn't it? It's also been joined at the back by Harbour and Boland as well. So look, This freight train's just getting longer and longer.
I was going to say, you got 8 cars all in contention, and then 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th are only a couple of car lengths back as well. So if these guys slow down a little bit, they'll end up in the battle, which they may well do as they all fight for position. Look at that, Harrison left to right, and now Deering shows the nose down the inside of Baxter, and Baxter loses another position into turn 2. So
this is just not, he doesn't want this at all. He's got Harrison right behind him, so Harrison's potentially might be able to get past him as well.
Have a look at this as we go over the top of the hill. Mole looking to the inside to try to get past Proglio for the lead of the race. Harrison probably hasn't come through this pack as much as I thought he would. I feel like he would have been making a couple of moves, especially down into turn 2, but I guess with so many cars, when they're spreading wide, there's nowhere to really go.
No, no one's given an inch, have they?
No.
You've got to do it the hard way if you've got to get around. There might even be a little bit of metal crunching to get the job done. We've seen it happen in previous rounds. This round so far, they've been pretty good. And Osborn now making a move on Mole. So Mole goes back to 3rd spot. Not over yet.
That was a good move from Osborn. You don't often see them making a positional pass down into turn 10, 11. So he's been able to get past there. That should give Proglio, although he's been a little wide onto the main straight. So I was about to say Proglio enough breathing space down into 1, but it's not going to work. Osborn looks to the inside and may well be the leader by the time we get to turn 2. Proglio giving him just enough room, not any more than he needs, but he won't be able to get back across and defend the inside. So now, where does Mole go? He'll have to move to the inside and try to follow Osborn through here, you'd expect. Osborn, you see the way he held Proglio up there, held him high and wide to try to open the gap up behind for the other guys to come through.
Well, I think he's more concerned to make sure the Baxter comes through somewhere there. That would be his intention. And we've got young Healy off the circuit.
Unfortunately facing the wrong way in the gravel trap at turn 1, so there's been some sort of drama with that car. He'll get himself to safety, and I think we may well see that turn 1 will be under yellow. And no sooner have I said Harrison didn't make the moves through the field that I expected him, and he's past Mole, and now he's up into 4th place in the race. So
yeah, I still think though that race 1 has cruelled his chances, so it's still between Mole and Baxter now. We've missed something there because Baxter's now ahead of Mole.
He has. He's got through as well.
But
so
has he got enough positions ahead to get away with it? I don't think so at this stage.
I don't think you'd feel very safe as well either with just a couple of laps remaining to have 8 cars all in the front group. We've seen it all change up multiple times throughout this race. No doubt it'll change up again before the finish as we go on board with Deering. He's up behind Mole, though. The gaps are starting to open slightly here, so as the cars and the drivers, of course, get tired late in the race, you start to have a few little mistakes and gaps open up, and it's harder to get you fighting back through for the position.
Yeah, in the meantime, Osborn said, I'm out of here, I've had enough of this.
He
has literally checked out. Proglio still 2nd, Baxter 3rd, here's Boland making a move on Harbour. Doesn't quite get it. 202 and 22. So come through, and Boland gets it done.
They've managed to be able to stay away from each other. No panel rubbing there. Great racing from the pair of them. Side by side down the straight into turn 1. There we go. So look at the way Harbour's car moving through the bumps there through turn 1. Of course, quite bumpy into turn 1 as he looks to the inside now at turn 2 and locks the brake.
Just worried that if you get stuck on the outside and lock a brake up, that you might wear a HQ in your left-hand mudguard.
Unfortunately, it does happen when you lock a brake like that. You can't control the slide. Proglio controlling 2nd place at the moment. He doesn't quite have enough, I think, to throw at Osborn. Baxter is looking to try to get through. He needs the championship points to be able to bring it home and take that crown away from Mole. At the moment, it looks like on points, Mole may well just be able to squeak across the line.
I think he's going to do it if they stay in these positions. But Baxter's now working the back of Proglio, so it'll be in his best interest to get past Proglio if he can.
Yep. Mole's there going, go Proglio, stay in front of him, give me those points as they come around the final corner for this, the last time in the Osborn's Transport HQ Holden Championship for 2022. Osborn is going to pick up the victory. Harrison moves to the inside. I think that's just to break the draft. Proglio is 2nd place in the race, but it's going to be Chris Mole crossing the line in 5th, who will be able to take home the championship. You can see the results on your screen there. Proglio 2nd, Baxter 3rd, Harrison 4th, Mole in 5th place, and our 2022 champion. We caught up with Mole and our race winner down in the pits.
Winner of New South Wales HQ race in round 5 How was it out there?
Yeah, it's good. Really tough fight in that last race. Close battle. Top half a dozen cars or so were really fast. So lots of overtaking, change of positions, and we were lucky enough to come home with the win.
Obviously, the weather here is a lot different to what it has been in other rounds. It got pretty warm. Did that affect the car at all?
So my car responded pretty well to it, so I can't really complain. But naturally, as it gets hotter, they all go worse. So I think everyone was in the same boat. We obviously would have all slowly got worse and worse.
This weekend, did your car have any issues? Was there any mechanical problems or anything like that?
No, we thankfully had a pretty good run. Rolled the car off Friday. It was reasonable. Just some minor tweaks, and then come qualifying the 3 races, it was a strong race car. Johnny got me in race 2. I didn't necessarily let him pass, but when he got past, got alongside, I didn't fight it. We were both going to be vulnerable if I did. So I decided the best thing for all of us was to, let him pass and then tag on behind and try and fight back, which we just didn't have quite enough for.
Anyone you'd like to thank?
Just like to thank Osborn's Transport, Boys from the Bush, CR International, MIA Engines. Thanks for your support.
Chris Mole, next year you'll be racing with number 1 on your car, taking home the championship in this last race. How's it feel?
Mate, I don't really know yet. It's still sort of sinking in, I guess. We've been hunting for it for years and years now. We've been racing for 10 years, and chased around some of the best HQs in Australia, and mate, we finally got it. I can't believe it. It's fantastic. It's awesome.
They didn't make it easy for you. Obviously, they put on a battle. What do you think of their racecraft and how they challenge you?
It's always tough racing in the Qs, mate. It was just so closely matched in cars. That it does come down to the drivers a lot of the time and the preparation of the cars. So, mate, I've raced against those guys. They are some of the best in Australia that we were racing against today, and I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I just had to do what I had to do to maintain points and to finally get there.
This weekend, do you have any issues with the car, or did it run pretty well the whole way through?
I had issues in almost every race, actually, other than the first race today. That race just then, 2-3 laps left, the charge light came on, so the alternator failed. The car was slightly overheating and pinging a little bit, so mate, it was all against us. It was fighting me from the time that we started preparing for this round. The world was fighting me, but we fought back and we got there.
All right, so against all odds, championship winner of the year. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank Command Digital Signage, our major sponsors, and Navori Labs, Hoyt's Cinemas, and Valley Head Services Racing. They've been backing us since day dot, and we really appreciate it. And to Rod, our crew chief, and Karen for everything that they do. Lockie and the family, the wife and kids for coming to support me every round, mate. I can't thank all of them enough for letting me, pursue my dreams.
Well, congratulations on the championship, and hopefully we get to see you right up there again next year.
Will do. Thanks, mate.
That's all the action from the Osborn's Transport HQ Holden Championship here on Blendline TV. We hope you've enjoyed it throughout the season. Make sure to check out their Facebook page and website for all the information on the 2023 Championship. It's set to be spectacular, so make sure to get trackside and support some great Aussie racing. Until next time, bye for now.